classification of keratoconus. Again, I'd like to thank the committee for inviting me. It's an honor to me to be with you. Actually, screening of keratoconus has developed a lot and changed a lot. I usually depend on 4 things in order to classify and stage keratoconus. The scissoring reflex, which is the simplest way. The tomography, it is the second step. The anterior segment OCT and corneal biomechanics, but sometimes it's not available in all centers. The scissoring reflex is an important tool to detect early keratoconus because it is the scissoring reflex is the earliest sign, clinical sign of keratoconus, even before any changes can be encountered on topography. Now, regarding tomography, I developed a 12-point subjective screening or scoring system. I depend on these 12 points. Bellin-Ambrosio display, Bellin ABCD keratoconus staging, corneal topometry, central anterior keratometry, thinnest corneal thickness, astigmatism, anterior sagittal map, elevation maps, pachymetry map, corneal thickness spatial profile, relative thickness map, and inter-eye asymmetry. Inter-eye asymmetry means that we compare both eyes. We cannot study only one eye to take a decision. So based on these 12 points, I score the case into high risk factors and moderate risk factors based on the following studies. So it is scientific based. No worries, I'm going to repeat this in detail in my next course that will be after 1 hour. It will be topography course. Now, regarding the newest or the most modern staging of keratoconus is the Bellin ABCD keratoconus staging. It depends on the principle of studying the bulging on the anterior and posterior corneal surfaces that we usually find in keratoconus in the 4 millimeter zone centered with the thinnest location. This staging studies the radius of curvature of this part, and then based on the radius of curvature, as you know, the steeper the area, the smaller the radius of curvature. Based on that, the ABCD system of Bellin will classify the case or stage the case into 1, 2, 3, or 4. This is a normal cornea, and this is a cornea with keratoconus. Again, I will repeat this in detail in my topography course. Now, it's very important to give a name to what we see on the topography. So I categorized the ectatic corneal diseases into 3 categories: the established ectasia, para-ectasia, and cornea with high potential. The established ectasia consists of keratoconus, pellucid marginal degeneration, pellucid-like keratoconus, keratoglobus, and post-laser vision correction ectasia. The para-ectasia consists of keratoconus suspect and formed frost keratoconus. Cornea with high potential consists of posterior keratoconus, apparently normal cornea, and unclassified abnormal cornea. Of course, I'm going to explain all these things in the course. The anterior segment OCT is a very important new tool in order to discover cases of keratoconus before topographic changes. Why? Because epithelial mapping can show focal thinning of epithelium over the cone while the topography is still normal. As you see, this is a pattern of keratoconus. On the right side, this is focal thinning of the epithelium. This is the cornea, full thickness cornea, and this is epithelium layer mapping. Compare this with this map. As you see, this is a very normal cornea because there is no thinning on the right side. This is a pattern of dry eye. You find multifocal thinning. This differentiates the dry eye from keratoconus. So as you see, anterior segment OCT is becoming more and more important for detection. Finally, corneal biomechanics. The latest technology is the Corvus, which studies the biomechanical properties of the cornea. According to that, it is promising. Until now, we don't have definite classification based on this, but it is a promising technology. So as a conclusion, scissoring reflex is a very important tool in your right hand in your clinic to detect early keratoconus. And I usually do it for every patient coming even for allergy. Tomography is important not only for diagnosis, but for staging and for giving names to the entities that we see. The anterior segment OCT is important in suspected cases. When we do epithelial mapping, we can say that there is focal thinning or not. If there is focal thinning, then it is an early keratoconus. And finally, corneal biomechanics. Please join me in my course. That will be after 1 hour, almost 1 hour in the same room. And I would like to invite you to my instructional course, How to Improve Your Refractive Surgery Outcomes by Skillful Interpretation of Cornea or Corneal Imaging. That will be in ESCRS. It is conducted this year for the 11th year. I am the leader with Arthur Cummings and Michael Bruchen. Thank you very much.